Hello. Well, first of all, I thank you, Sue, and whoever colleagues in the whole EA community and whoever else is listening for helping make this possible. Hello, my name is Michael Pinchera, for those who don't know me, and I've been a student of evolutionary astrology since 1981 and later taught by Jeffrey Wolf Green, but finished my EA certification through Kim Marie after Jeffrey bowed out of the public sphere. I've also been a student of anthroposophy since 1977 and a teacher at Waldorf or Rudolf Steiner schools since 1984. So I find Steiner's indications on karma and reincarnation and EA's psychology of karma are very complementary. And I've taken on the task to bring the fruits of these two streams to people. So as we all know, we live in times when the understanding and the holding dear what a human being is and can be, and the understanding of karma and reincarnation is increasingly crucial in importance. So today, my main topic is the Sagittarius soul discipline, which is control or mastery of speaking and thinking. And I'll be focusing on retrograde Jupiter in Cancer and retrograde Mercury in Sagittarius, and the moral alchemy, we can say, of thought and word. So moving from the autumn equinox toward the winter solstice through the season of Sagittarius in late November, um, uh, we have a sign of vision, okay, philosophy and expansive thought. Rudolf Steiner's 12 virtues, what he calls them, he assigns December now, specifically, November 21st, 22nd through December 21st, a seemingly paradoxical task. And this is the control of speaking and thinking. When the mind seeks truth and the tongue, longs to teach, the human soul must learn restraint, not to silence wisdom, but to sanctify it. So why, you can think, dear friends, in a time of materialism and cosmic curiosity, which is rife with New Age spiritual teachings and dilettantism, why are we asked to hold back? Well, I can say because true wisdom is not in the abundance of words, but in the alignment of thought, speech, and soul intent. And this comes about only um, through free will, okay, and willful individual intent and action. If the virtue is control of speaking and thinking, then the vice to transform is thoughtless, idle chatter, leaving room for the higher quality of truthful clarity, right? Clarity of authentic expression of ideas. And the authentic expression, of all of our whole being to arise. And this transformation starts with the uncomfortable pain of objectively facing our own shadowy side, right? Warts, vices, and untruths all. This path of inner development shows that speech and thought are not neutral. They are forces of creation. And to speak is to shape reality. To think is to summon spiritual beings. So December's virtue asks us to become conscious creators. As Steiner said, every word is a deed, every thought is a seed, and we're called to think with precision, not projection, and speak with reverence, not reaction. And this aids us to align our inner and outer worlds, so that truth flows unimpeded, So New Age gobbledygook has taken this reality in the guise of manifestation. Now, unfortunately, the focus of this manifestation as it's commonly called, is more often than not, on getting things, right? Increasing wealth and bettering lifestyle. That's usually in the service of materialistic and egoistic desires. Such acts of manifestation um, are really a spiritual bypassing. Yeah. And so, the focus of this excludes any needed inner personal transformation while feeling that one is being, spiritual. To paraphrase Steiner, for every step one takes towards spiritual development, one needs to take 2 steps towards moral development. So Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, is the philosopher of the zodiac, as we know, and seeks meaning, expansion, and cosmic understanding. Its shadow is dogma, exaggeration, and blunt speech. Our soul's desire is to evolve through truth-seeking and teaching. Sagittarius teaches that truth must be lived before it is taught. So our challenge is about speaking before integrating and thinking without listening. That's the challenge. And we can resolve this by cultivating discernment before expression. The Sagittarius archetype evolves by moving from belief to wisdom, learning the relativity of truth through the polarity of Gemini, and practicing humility in speech and clarity in thought. Second slide, please. Thank you, Sue. Together, these complementary paths teach us that speech is sacred and thought is transformative. In this month, we are reminded to speak truth. So as we can see, on this chart, that, this, as I've called it, the Sagittarian evolution, we have the core virtue, okay? And I'm just looking at anthroposophical and evolutionary thinking. They're very much hand in hand. Okay, the control of speaking and thinking, the discernment and teaching and seeking. This slide will be up for a while, so you can look at it, and I'll continue. So these very complementary paths teach us that speech is sacred, and thought is transformative. So this month, we are reminded to speak truth, okay, and to become worthy of it. Speech is a manifestation of the I, our individuality, our spiritual core, which expresses itself through conscious speech, right? Speaking with intention and truthfulness allows the I to imprint its moral or self-created substance out into the world. Whereas, idle and reactive speech, this weakens our connection between the I and the soul and strengthens the identification we have with our own personal sympathies and antipathies, our likes and dislikes, leading to fragmentation of self, right? And fragmentation of our relationships. And this relates to EA's view of the Sagittarian fire and the responsibility to truth. Steiner described how the spoken world vibrates into the etheric realm, shaping and influencing the health and harmony of even others, right? Loving, thoughtful speech can heal. Harsh or careless speech can really disrupt the etheric balance of a space or of a people, let alone oneself. EA recognizes the differences between being in alignment with natural law or not, and how this shapes our lives. Words are deeds, and they carry consequences. Anthroposophy recognizes karma as not only being shaped by actions, but also by speech, whether it's intentional or not. Speaking truthfully, reverently, and with moral clarity contributes to the evolution of both the speaker and the listener. A lie is like an implosion within one's own feeling body, the astral body, and forms a murder in the other. And Steiner taught that spiritual beings, especially the angelic hierarchies, are present in our thoughts and words. And when we speak of reverence, we invite these beings to participate in our soul life. And when we speak thoughtlessly, we sever the connection to the higher realms. And EA recognizes spiritually aligned thinking, and words are powerful and transformative. In anthroposophy, the gesture of speech is not just vocal, it's a moral, etheric, and cosmic reality. And to speak is to create, to offer, and to transform. When we master our speech, we become co-creators with the spiritual world. In anthroposophy, the zodiac is not merely a personality map. It's a cosmic language revealing the spiritual beings behind the evolution of humanity. And Sagittarius, the archer, is seen as a profound symbol of the soul striving toward higher truth, moral clarity, and spiritual freedom. So during the evening, it's good practice to retrospect the day. Okay, reflect on our words. Did they uplift, clarify, or confuse? It's something we can all work on. For discipline of speech practice, we need to practice intentional silence, okay, or speak only when your words serve truth or healing. We can also work with verses. Many of us do, reciting meditative verses from inspired writings, okay, to attune personal speech, to cosmic speech and rhythms. Mantras are part of this. It's really good that we really understand the language that we are reciting. The imagination of the archer's gesture is one of aiming toward the spirit. Sagittarius represents the human being who has developed uprightness and now aims beyond the earthly toward the spiritual worlds. The bow and arrow symbolize conscious intention and the will to pierce illusion and reach truth. The gesture reflects the moral will striving towards cosmic ideals. This is a key theme in Steiner's teachings. So ruled by Jupiter, Sagittarius is infused with the forces of wisdom, growth, and cosmic law. Jupiter is linked to the development of moral intuition and the capacity to perceive spiritual truths through inner experience. Sagittarius thus becomes the sign of the philosopher, okay, the spiritual seeker, not just intellectually, but morally and cosmically. And among the many cosmic cycles, anthroposophists recognize 7-year phases of human development. Now, Jupiter corresponds to the phase of life when the soul seeks meaningful activity, expanding one's wisdom from experience out into the social life. Okay, and this starts at age 49. It's a time of spiritual awakening when the individual asks in new ways, okay, what is my higher purpose? What truth guides my life? And this magnifies the anthroposophic idea of inner development as a path of initiation. Sagittarius holds a connection to cosmic memory, and the galactic center on Sagittarius is a spiritual gateway to higher realms. And in this view, we can say that Sagittarius is not just a seeker, it is a guardian of cosmic truth, helping humanity reconnect with its divine origins and urging us to expand our awareness. In eurythmy, this anthroposophical art movement, the Sagittarius gesture involves drawing the bow, right, with reverence and aligning the will with cosmic forces. Now, this movement is not aggressive, it's devotional, a sacred act of aiming one's soul toward the divine. To embody Sagittarius, one must speak truth through moral striving, not just intellectual inquiry, right? We must align our will with spiritual ideals, aiming one's life like an arrow towards service and transformation. If we engage in the meditative practices that awaken cosmic memory and inner vision, we are called to teach and mentor with humility, helping others find their own spiritual path. In EA, Sagittarius and its ruling planet Jupiter represents the soul's quest for meaning, truth, and expansion. But unlike traditional astrology, we say that EA frames this archetype through the lens of soul evolution across lifetimes, emphasizing how the beliefs shape karma, identity, and growth. In EA, Sagittarius is the archetype of the teacher, philosopher, and pilgrim. And the soul here is driven to expand its worldview, often through direct experience, but this expansion must be tempered with humility and discernment. Through Jupiter, the evolutionary desire is to discover universal truths and to live by them. The soul's strategy is to explore through travel, study, philosophy, and spiritual inquiry. Jupiter's function is to expand whatever it touches, ideas, experiences, and karmic patterns. Jupiter's evolutionary role reveals the soul's belief systems, which can either liberate or limit. Right? The Sagittarian soul evolves by testing beliefs against lived reality and refines them through wisdom. And EA shows Jupiter's shadow expression as dogmatism, self-righteousness, blind faith, or bypassing nuance. Jupiter's challenge is to over-identify with beliefs that can lead to, spiritual arrogance, right? Or avoidance of deeper emotional work. Jupiter's placement in the chart shows what the soul believes will bring growth, where it seeks meaning and purpose and how it may project truth without integrating it. A general soul stage of an individual and the soul stage of each planetary expression is in or moving towards what can be seen. The planetary impulses are independently evolving according to the degree one has worked with it or mastered it. In Jupiter's case, we can see that what the expression and evolutionary task is according to its stage of development. Third slide, please. We can see the three main stages, generally speaking, from an EA standpoint, and what its expression, what its task is here. Now, we mustn't, confuse belief with truth. So this goes with anything, any thoughts and ideals that we have. And beliefs are stepping stones, not destinations. Now, Jupiter's the soul's compass, but it has to always be recalibrated through experience and reflection. Now, this is the essence of a retrograde Jupiter. Travel inward as much as outward. The soul's terrain is vast. So, to the chagrin of many, right, especially in this digital capitalistic age, teach only what you've lived. For authenticity, is the highest Sagittarian virtue. Jupiter is retrograde between 26th and 22nd degrees of Cancer from the time it goes retrograde in November, then into December of it. And this is a time of special introspection, revisiting, and questioning our wider outlook of life that we have developed up to this point, especially focused on what we have developed as our sense of personal identity, Cancer, in relation to what we can see as possible for ourselves and the practical things we need to do. to bolster our sense of self and the ideals we hold dear, yet need to be more serious in undertaking them and taking steps toward what direction our growth edge is heading towards or calling us to follow, you know? So the development of identity and that of sensitivity and vulnerability go hand in hand. One can develop in only one direction or another, but is ultimately non-viable. Through the experience of developing as an individual, one grows more sensitive to discern what is healthy for one's own good, thus more sensitive towards others. This is compassion, right? And the willingness to help, which is Jupiterian generosity. The house that Jupiter is transiting in your chart will be the arena in which one will find these lessons being manifested or personified, exemplified in people and situations one encounters. So look to the ruler of the house and the dispositor, right, for more information. Another expression of retrograde Jupiter in Cancer is the discerning of what truth of a matter is through an expanded focus of what is truth and what is not. A facet of Jupiter, which I've written about before, is the act of pruning. People have learned to prune plants, okay, in order to promote growth or fruiting. It's the same within us. So these retrograde times are like that. Now, current events in our world show us that when more information and facts are known, that then whatever is true, and not true, stand out boldly, don't they? No stubborn and stalwart defenders of the lie aid this magnification, which in the end only enables people to more easily see the truth. Fourth slide, please. This is the transit slide here. It's set for where I'm at here in Malaysia, but the planetary positions are the same. This retrograde Mercury in Sagittarius goes hand in hand with Jupiter retrograde at this time to impel us to rethink, revisit, and reformulate our concepts and how we think to define ourselves in the world. And this includes our attitude. Okay, we can be haughty or open-minded with our ideas. Mercury retrogrades from the 7th degree of Sagittarius on November 10th, a few days ago, to the 21st degree of Scorpio on the 30th. It returns to Scorpio on the 19th. Now in Scorpio, then trining Jupiter during our last week of November, this week, our ideation, how we have been holding things is deeply felt and intensely scrutinized so that we can confidently express our thoughts later with healthy enthusiasm. The trine enhances clear thinking and promotes, positive and inspiring communication. With both planets in retrograde, this positivity and inspiration is focused more within. And turning outwards for inspiration or taking part in habits that takes one outward weakens the experience of inspiration at this time. Now is a time to sit tight, as it were, and stay focused on what really matters. Mercury retrograde is often a time of miscommunication and tech and mechanical problems. As I was telling Sue right before this, I've been having so many issues with even just setting up this for this EA Zoom meeting. And I find this varies from person to person as to which retrograde season manifests in this way. Okay, this may be a time of confusion and worry, even because of what hasn't been addressed or resolved, or because it is hard to see what to do next. Now, I've heard from others, and it is my experience that this time is a particularly intense time for snafus. As I've said, my computer has been doing odd things also, and my debit card is acting erratically even, which is very disconcerting for me because, I'm living in Malaysia and my bank's in the US. My scientific mind, I'm going to be waiting for Mercury to go direct to see if this misactivity stops. I'll let you know. Fortunately, well, actually, it's naturally the outlandish lies, secrets, and misdeeds of the greedy and power hungry, are also faltering at this time. Um, Thinking out of the box is available for everyone, anyone. Even MAGA Republicans are changing their minds. And this is a time for noticing the seed-like nature of thoughts that are inspiring now for new projects and activities. Always room for Jupiterian hope. Now, Mercury is also trining Saturn in Pisces, which is also retrograde, and opposing retrograde Uranus in Taurus. The trine to Saturn emphasizes the necessity of boundaries and definition of selfhood, and also brings clarity of thought. So to the degree that a person has not been living authentically and thinking for themselves, the previous karma brings obstacles in thinking and in their communication. The trine to Uranus brings creative imaginations and sudden changes, which may be disruptive and or give powerful strength of determination for what one thinks and holds true. I've said this story before, but when Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, as a boy, asked his mother about why there's so much evil in the world, she told him to always look for the helpers. And of course, there are positive helpers and workers in the world, thank God, holding truth, beauty, and goodness, but has increasingly been made aware to me and obvious to me that, as Jeffrey Wolf Green indicated, that there are only about 20% of the people who are what we could say working as Fred Rogers' mother called helpers. Sometimes I wonder if this percentage is a high estimate. But other times I think it's too low because, my hope in humanity. But right now, humanity is going through an eye of a needle initiation. So I'll end here. I'll leave you with this. Thank you to all. And if you'll go to the 5th slide, Sue. So please comment on the EA Zoom meetings page or on my YouTube page at Midnight Point. You can visit my website, midnightpoint.com, to read my blogs and to find information on my astrological work. Your comments are very important to me. Okay. You can subscribe on midnightpoint.com to be on my emailing list to receive notifications of videos, articles, activities, and possible gatherings. So I thank everyone very much, and thank you again, Sue.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, very welcome.